All right, here is my presentation on the data that I found from my school, Solana Highlands Elementary, which is part of the Solana Beach School District and in California. So here's the district and the school's demographics. As we can see here, uh, we have K through 3 is the grades, and total student enrollment is 3,140. That's for the district. For this school itself, it's 364. I believe it's on the next slide. Um, and the majority or 365 actually, right? It's right here. Sorry. Um, the majority of the students race-wise are white is 53.7% and Asian coming in second place with 38.9% and 1.9% is black and 4.4% is Hispanic. So, I mean, pretty much it's half white. The school is half white and half Asian. And excuse me. And when they say Asian, it's including so like for example me, I'm Asian Indian. So it's Asian Indian. We have a lot of Chinese students, Korean, and that. So it's actually pretty vague when it says Asian, and I kind of not just for the school, but like I really wish when they said Asian, it was actually a breakdown of maybe like what type of Asian, like Oriental Asian, or maybe we don't say that anymore, but maybe from like what country, ethnicity, because Asian is it's huge. So but anyway, as you can see that half of the school in the school itself is white, and then the other most half is Asian, and only like a few black and a few Hispanic students. In terms of sex, um, there are more females by 4.5% more in terms of half, and less males. Um, in the school, 8.8% has disabilities, and 13.4% has limited English proficiency in the district. So as we break it down with the students with disabilities, as we can see here, in the district, there is in the district, which is 3,140 students, 56.3% of the white students have disabilities, with only 9.8% Hispanic and 29%, I'm guessing biracial is what two or more is. So in terms of what we did in the reading, excuse me, it is it doesn't seem to be racially biased, but then again, there are there's 50%, of whites in the district itself. Now, according to the school, in the 367, this one here says 367, but in the other one it said 365. Oh, yeah, here it is, 365 that are enrolled in school. Only 53% of those students have disabilities, and 38.9% is Asian. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. I'm reading this wrong. That's how many people are in this school, ethnic wise. And then for who have disabilities, there's only 24 in this school. And as you can see, 83% of them are white and 16.7% are Asian. There are none in the middle there. So, like I said, in terms of it being racially discriminatory, it is not. I mean, based on our reading, it's not being applied here. There aren't any black students that have disabilities in the school, as we can see here. So 0. And there are none in the school that are Hispanic either. However, we do see this 22% within the district, which is higher than the 13% of white. But that's for the whole district. In which case, yes, there is maybe some bias, since there's only 9 or 18.5% in the, I mean, not, sorry, excuse me, 9.8% in the whole district that are enrolled, and only 18.5% Hispanics that are have a disability. So, yeah, even though these are pretty low numbers, that 22.1% is a higher discrepancy than the white. But in terms of our school, I would say it's pretty even in terms of who racially has a disability. I mean, it's, as you can see here, 83.3%. It's higher for the whites. If we break it down by sex, this is interesting. In our reading, it wasn't mentioned in the first article, but for the India article, we can see that girls are underrepresented in India, and that's because maybe they're not in school or whatever. But since there are more girls enrolled in school, in this school in Solana Highlands, it is interesting to see that out of the 24 students that have disabilities in the school, 70% of those disabilities are male. Excuse me. So that's pretty interesting to see, that 70% of the 24 that are disabled, or have disabilities rather, are male, when there is a 54%, female, more females. So that is also an interesting thing to notice. And same thing here with the disability. Again, here it's the whites that are 14.1% male, and then 6.7 female, with the male Asian as well. So it's interesting to see that even though, despite race, even male students tend to be the one that have the disabilities. And it's not for, the lack of females being checked or anything. Really quickly, English learning, there's none in our school. Absolutely none. There's 16.1% in the district, but in our school there's none. So I just wanted to quickly touch base on that. So based on the data, I also didn't put our school suspensions. There was 0. There was no school suspensions. Only there were 2 out of school. Only 2 that have been reported within the past 3 years. I also didn't put a picture of that, but just to show that this district, it's in an affluent neighborhood. they, well-to-do parents, um, it's very, very rare for some student to be kicked out of school. And it's a K through 3. Rarely anything happens in those grades anyway. Um, some other data to touch base again was that the majority of the population of race in the school, it's white, so 50%, and then the 40% Asians, and then the rest were either biracial or black or Hispanic. And this is something that I know about the district with the Hispanics. They have to bring in the Hispanics, the ones that are underprivileged and live in low-income housing, um, from wherever. There's a lot of low-income housing actually neighborhoods in Carmel Valley, which is where this school is. And that those are who make up the Hispanic population. And if they don't live there, then they will take them on buses to come. But again, I've never seen any buses at the school or anything. So that 5.5% of Hispanics that we've seen, they're probably just from the low income housing that's in the area. So again, the ones that do have the disabilities are white, mostly white, and then a few Asians, and then they're also mostly male than female. So when it comes to, if there's any racial problems, or like, are we discriminating against certain races and certain ethnicities? I feel like, excuse me, our district does a pretty good job of of trying their best to be accurate. The only thing that I could say is that I'm really not surprised to see more males than females having disabilities. I feel like boys in general, they do struggle a bit with communicating. Um, I have a son and a daughter, and I can, from very early on, my daughter was the best communicator, and my son took a little bit longer to communicate, and not for the lack of trying, or like one over the other, being biased to one over the other, but it's just maybe that's just something the way boys work or what, but I can see that I can see why there might be more of a struggle with boys. Or it could just be that's a bias, and that would be another thing to explore if boys are just more easily discriminated against than girls for disabilities. So, but in terms of race, I feel like our school does a great job, and so does our district. And I think that also has to do with the fact um, that we are in a more affluent neighborhood, and I guess, with the Asian population being so high, the district and the school have to make sure that they, you know, that equality is there. And plus the services that are there for the students with disabilities are amazing. One of our sister schools, Carmel Creek Elementary, has a wonderful facility for the severely disabled as well. And I think our district just does a great job. Our school does a great job. And I'm not really surprised with these data. And um, that's all I've got to say now, and just end this presentation. Thank you.